Welcome to the Inspired Riding Podcast. I'm your host, Beth Lauren Parrish. As a certified riding instructor, remote coach, and rapid transformational therapy practitioner, a powerful form of hypnotherapy, I'm here to remind you to slow down, trust your intuition, and really deeply listen to your horse. And this will make for the best co-creative dances possible, whether you're on the ground or connecting on their backs. Thank you so much for being here, and here we go. Hello there, Inspired Riders. In this podcast, we're continuing with the Riding Instructor series. I'm honored to introduce you to Joe Washburn. Joe Washburn, owner and trainer of JW Horsemanship and Services in Brenham, Texas, is a native Texan living in and around the Houston area for most of his life. He discovered his love of horses and horsemanship about 15 years ago at an open horse event and has never looked back. Joe's program is all about helping people discover and or rediscover their joy in the saddle. His team meets every rider and handler wherever they are, evaluates the gaps in both horse and human, and develops a plan to fix the holes and build a connection based on empathy, kindness, and respect as a two-way street. He has found a special talent in introducing horsemanship to complete beginners of all ages. He and his team of teaching horses have made riders out of more than 50 beginners in the past 18 months. Joe is also an expert barefoot trimmer, one of the few that offers training to teach horses and donkeys to accept farrier work if they have never learned these skills. Joe and his spouse share a small ranch in Brenham, Texas, where Joe runs his horsemanship school, as well as a board and train program that accepts a select few horses in for board and training several times a year. I'm so excited to interview him, and here we go. Hi, Joe. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm so glad you could join us on my podcast. So let's get started with a first very basic question, but it's very important. What do you love most about teaching?
Well, there's obviously a lot of components to it that I love. It's not just one thing. It's kind of the whole package. But ultimately, I would have to say the process, the going from I can't do that to I don't want to stop doing this. You know what I mean? That seeing a kid or an adult, it doesn't matter the age, seeing that person go from there's no way I could do that to, well, how do I do it better now? That's what I want to see. You know what I mean? That's what I'm always trying to reach. That's the thing that makes me go like, all right, we're getting somewhere.
That's beautiful. So you feel that internal shift in your student, right?
Yes. And sometimes it happens in the first lesson, and it's amazing. with the little kids, it's so awesome. Like, you'll go from terrified, crying, like, I don't know if I could get on, I can't do that, to, well, do you think you can get off now? One more time. You know, that's always just an amazing feeling.
It totally is. I remember that so well. What kind of things do you tell them when they're terrified?
Well, I like to try to focus on that it's okay to be terrified. That I don't try to teach them to not be terrified. I try to teach them to use it, to get through it and use it. You know, it's just, that's kind of the whole philosophy I have behind my horse training too, you know. Get through what you're scared of and come out the other side stronger.
So face it, acknowledge it, know it's there, don't try to hide from it, right?
Yes.
Beautiful. How have you shifted your way of teaching over the years?
Oh, tons. I mean, every student teaches me something new. I mean, a new way of saying the same thing, you know, that always really helps you with the next student. because now you can find something that they can relate with. So that's something I really shifted. In the beginning, it was strictly my process, and I'm teaching. And then it shifted to, well, they're not going to understand my way of understanding it all the time. I have to figure out how can they relate and understand the same process, but just in the way they understand it and can relate. So that's where you got to find analogies and whatnot that can vary throughout the freaking world, like everything from rock climbing to race car driving to, you know what I mean? Everything is involved in horses. It's kind of amazing to really be able to see. There's a lot of detail, so you got to take it slow with the students. You can't throw too much at them because just a couple pieces of sand is a lot.
Absolutely. What are some of your favorite analogies that you've been using lately?
Hey, tell me what that was.
Well, you've talked about flowing like water.
Flowing like water. I use kayak analogy a lot. You gotta flow like a kayak in the water. If you go against the current, you're gonna tip over and drown. If you go with the current, with the flow, then all of a sudden you'll find control within the chaos. You'll be one with it. You'll be balanced.
This is very Bruce Lee feeling. I love it. Yes. I've often mentioned to imagine you're in water with the horse, and if you feel any leaks, then you can close the leaks. So that really helps.
That's a good one. Close the leaks. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah, but I love the kayak analogy. That's wonderful. What are some of your top teaching tips that you'd like to share to elevate the horse world?
Ask for less. If we learn how to ask for less of what we're wanting, we'll end up with more than what we were expecting. But we've got to learn how to ask for less to get more.
Beautiful. Anything else?
I could go on for days on that. You really gotta just feel, don't think so much about doing this or doing that. That's all gonna come pretty naturally once you just kind of release and go with it. Go with what the horse is trying to tell you, and then try to tell the horse, well, no, let's do this instead. You can't get that without that connection and communication with the horse. The horse has got to understand you and want to understand you. If you are doing it in a way that makes the horse more panicky, it's not going to work. It's going to work for a little bit of time, but at some point that panic is going to grow. And when that panic grows, then now you need something heavier. You need a stronger way of controlling that horse. And you know what I mean? They're going to do what they're going to do. I get hurt all the time. It's not because I'm not safe. I'm super safe. But sometimes these animals are scared and they react, and I'm dealing with animals that are not trained. So,
Sure.
It's not your trained horse. Your trained horse it's been trained out of all that. It's been trained to be calm, but they're still a horse. They're still going to have days where, you know what, I'm kind of just anxiety today, and something moves, and I'm like, what was that? Every horse is going to be like that. You know why? Because we all are like that. Every creature on this planet is like that. We have our good days, we have our bad days. We have days that we're like calm and chill, like nothing could really bother us, and other days, not so much. That's the whole point in life. We gotta keep trying to build our ability to always have a good day. Same for the horses. They're just trying to learn how to have a good day. And sometimes it don't work, and we gotta learn how to help them do that.
And so when a horse is having a really bad day, what do you do internally to help them?
So that's where we go into my whole philosophy of working with the animal. You need to do be, feel, and act the way you expect your horse to do, feel, be, or act. And that goes across the board. You know, if you want your horse to trot, well, you need to be trotting. You can't just sit there be sitting on a couch and expect your horse to be trotting. That's not communication. That's not unity. You know what I mean? That's you telling that horse what to do and you sitting there letting that horse do it. You're getting in the way. You're making his job harder. Our whole job is to make their job easier so that they can do their job for us. You know, so that right there kind of sums it up.
So if you want an intercom with the horse, you have to bring that inside yourself first, right?
Exactly. And like I said, we all struggle with that. That's the whole point in life, is to build that ability to control yourself.
Beautiful. Anything else you want to add?
Give the horse a chance. You got to do that. If you don't give the horse a chance to learn, sometimes we expect the horse to understand what is basic to us without understanding that it's not basic to them. You gotta learn to break what we're asking them down more to a simpler act. You asked me what analogies I use. Another one I've been using a lot is crayon. You want a kid to learn how to write a 500-page essay. Well, he's not going to be able to do that if he doesn't even know how to pick up a crayon. So the first step is, hey, this is a box of crayons. Look at them all. Play with them. You see what they can do? That's pretty cool. Hey, do you think you can maybe now pick one up like this and hold it like this? Now, hey, can you mark on the paper? Oh, good job. Can you make 2 different colored marks on the paper? And go from there. Not, hey, can you draw me a picture? Well, how do I do that? Unfortunately, we ask our horses, hey, 500-page essay. I don't care if you don't know how to pick up a crayon. Figure it out. You can figure it out. If I put enough pressure on you, you'll figure it out. No. If you help them figure it out, yes, you can use pressure to do that. But if you use it in the right way, you help them figure it out faster, and you don't have to use pressure. Now you just use communication.
Yeah, so
that's all through your body language. It's not verbal for me. It's mostly through your body language. There's some verbal here and there, but really if you're communicating with your body, you don't need to say anything.
So when you're using your body language, are you also creating images in your mind of what you'd like them to do?
Hey now, you can't give away everything, Beth. That's very good. Yes ma'am. You have to visualize what you want the horse to do. That is your first cue. That is the first thing that you say to that horse, whether you realize it or not. They know what you're thinking.
Absolutely.
Yes, your first cue is your thought. It's very, very good, Beth. Very good.
Thank you. I've been doing this a few years,
I love it.
Well, that's what I teach. I mean, obviously, my students know that there's so many different levels of communication. So you want to get yourself into a place of imagining what you'd like. And then you also have people, even though horses think in pictures, you have people who have trouble visualizing. So I tell them to feel what it would feel like to do the things, whether you feel like you are the horse doing the things or you just feel it in your body, right? So that way you can combine the visual, the kinesthetic, and then also you can use your voice if you want later and say, hey, I'd like you to walk on. I know. My horse.
So what I find with the voice cues is it doesn't help the horse, but guess what it does help? It helps you, which in return helps the horse.
Right, creates more clarity. Yeah.
Yes. When you use your voice for whatever reason, you start using your body language more. It's natural.
Yeah.
Your body language is your cue. So if you're using your voice, that will make you use your body language more. So some people, yes, I tell them, say this or say that to help them understand, especially with back. That helps people a lot. If I just make them say back, back, back.
Yeah, so you find that once they start verbalizing, then they can embody the entire thing.
Yes,
right.
They naturally start. Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. Do you have a story about a favorite lesson horse?
It's recent, actually. So, I have my main horse, Pebbles. Miss Pebbles is the queen, the essence of everything around here. And I had a lovely little student come in for the first time. And Karen was inside, and I had one of my assistant trainers out there with me, helping me. And this little girl gets on this horse, and she's as cute as all get out. Has a cute little voice, soft voice, very soft personality. And I'm thinking, okay, she's gonna love this, right? She goes, "Oh my God, I love this horse. Can I take this horse home?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure, you can have her."
She's one of those kids that you can't say no to. I get it.
She's my main lesson horse.
She fell in love. I want to take it home. Yep.
It's like, sometimes you see a connection with these kids and the horses, and it's like, whatever you want, you just want to make them happy, because they're doing so good. And it's like they've never even been on a horse before. And it's because of Pebbles. Pebbles is such an amazing horse. Like, she has her own little quirks, as every horse does. But when it comes to being in that round pen with a kid, she is doing an amazing job. I've never seen a horse understand what she was doing more than she does. Pretty amazing.
Love that. So she's an ultimate caretaker, huh?
Ultimate caretaker.
That's the best. I love the little girl immediately wanted to take her home. That's perfect.
Immediately. And I was just soft as all get out. And yeah, sure. We'll load her up. And
he texted me and said, "You should come out now if you don't want to lose your horse."
That's hilarious.
I had no idea what was going on. Excuse me, my oh my goodness. This little pink helmet with ponies on it. I was almost like, well, I don't know.
Well, that means she'll want to come back for more lessons, right? That's good.
Exactly.
I can't wait. She drove her mother crazy.
She drives her mother crazy. It rained, so she got rained out one week. She drove her mother crazy. When are we going back? So she had to book an extra session just so the kid would be satisfied. She was so I gotta go ride. So the last time she came, she told me that she now wants to be a mini pony trainer. That's her new profession. She's completely changed what she was gonna do, and she now wants to be a mini pony trainer.
I love that so much. And how old is she?
7 or 8.
7 or 8, yeah.
Amazing. I remember those feelings, and I remember I was kept in line because if my grades went down, my parents were like, "No lesson this week." I was like, "Okay, I'm studying." I cannot miss a lesson. Yep.
Yeah, she's one of them, this little girl.
Horsepower is a real thing.
Yeah, she definitely got bitten by the bug, as we say. What's something that surprised you while teaching?
How much the horse can really understand when the rider is not actually ready to do something. My good horses, the ones that are fully trained, they will literally sit there and stare at me with their eye, and I can feel that they're telling me they're not ready. They're not ready. It's just mind-blowing. It is mind-blowing. I know the things that's mind-blowing with horses, but that, they literally sit there and tell me they are not ready. It's clear as day. Everybody can see it. It's not just me that's seeing it. You know what I mean? The parents see it and everything. They literally stare at you. They're not ready. They can't trot yet. They can't go that fast yet. Their seat's not ready for me to move yet. As soon as I get that student to sit right, to get that seat right, okay, now they're ready. It all leads back to water. You know what I mean? Flow. It's just, you gotta flow. That kayak, you gotta keep it moving with the current. As soon as you feel that current, you can't really fight it. You gotta go with it, and then you can kind of control the current. After that, you can't control that current before that. You know what I mean? Once you can control that current, everything is amazing. By doing that, you do that with communication, with understanding between both you and the horse.
I love that your horses are that clear, and that's a sign of an amazing connection that you have with the lesson horses. I've had that many times, of course, and with the animal communication, they just tell me. Like, I could see it from across the arena, but I also hear it. And I'm like, okay, got it. We need to switch gears to help this student a little bit more. But I love that they tell you so clearly. And it's cool that the parents are picking up on it. That's really good to hear, too.
Exactly. Yeah, some people, they sit there, and I got one particular, she's actually become my assistant trainer now. She mentioned that it's like a sanctuary. You can't hide nothing from me in there because the horse tells me everything. So they get on that horse, and I know things about them that they didn't even know about themselves sometimes. Her second lesson, I believe, she literally looked at me, stopped the horse, and was like, "How do you know that about me?" The horse is telling me. And she was like, "Oh." And now she's completely immersed into the program. You know what I mean? And it's amazing. But she's not the only one. Everybody who gets in there on that horse tells you everything that you are. The way you feel, the way you think, your personality completely cannot be hidden. You know what I mean? When you get on that horse, they tell everybody everything if you know how to listen to them. And that's the magic. It's learning how to listen to the horse.
Definitely. It's like instant biofeedback.
Yeah.
Love it. Do you have a transformation story about a student that you'd like to share?
I've had some kids that were terrified and then went from terrified to not even wanting to get off the horse in one lesson. But I had a particular lady, she went from terrified to wanting to come almost as much as she could. And every time she came, she tried to pick that same horse that she fell in love with, but she would get right on there. Like, I would have to slow her down. Like, hang on, let's take it slower. This is a student that would barely even touch the horse. An adult student that would barely even touch the horse. You expect a kid to be scared like that, but an adult, that's hard to deal with if you've never dealt with that before.
Can you describe the process that helped her feel more confident?
Just like with the horse, I literally just broke it down, and as soon as I saw that it wasn't broken down enough, I figured out how to break it down more, and as soon as I saw that wasn't enough, I broke it down to even easier steps and just allowed her to take the time to get through it, and kept pushing her. It takes a little push. You gotta, sometimes the kid don't want to touch that water. You gotta put their toe in. And then next time you gotta pick them up and put their ankle in. And then there you gotta put their knee in, let them kick around. See, it's not that bad. And then take them out and let them breathe. And it's okay. Don't panic. And then, next step, guess what? Their chest gets to feel that water. You take them out. It's a process. You gotta take your time, each step. And then you got some kids who would just run right in. You got, hey, no, don't go that deep. Get back up here. And they swim 2 times. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you got to go according to each student, to each horse, every horse is different. You gotta take the time, even if the process and the routines are the same, you gotta kind of change them up, break them up. You don't have to do anything different out of your program, but you might want to do something new or different. Do something you've been doing differently. You know, it helps to learn for each and every person and horse. You got to break it down. You got to take your time.
And it takes a lot of patience. Do you feel like you're growing your patience muscle as you teach more, or has it always been there?
Well, I feel like as I've started my teaching program, I already had that, but I contribute that to donkeys.
Oh, wow.
If you've ever trained donkeys, you go to a true donkey rescue and train some wild donkeys or some donkeys that have been abused, and you will learn the definition of love, care, and complete and utter commitment and patience, okay? Because donkeys, all they need, I'm sorry, I'm about to cry. I can't do that.
You can cry, it's okay.
Donkeys are the most misunderstood out of the equine world. We think horses are misunderstood, but donkeys are even more misunderstood. It's very sad.
I'm glad you're out there to help them.
It's physically difficult, though. They are very tough creatures to train. It is very hard. But they are worth it because when you make those breakthroughs, it's like having a horse and a dog all in one. Like, they are the most amazing creatures on this planet. Nobody knows.
That's gorgeous. I had one little donkey experience where I would go and work with a woman's gaited horses, and it was just hanging out, always watching me, but it was very afraid of people. And I remember just sitting down one day, and it just came up to me and let me pet it. And this is after months and months of it just watching me. And it was such a gorgeous, magical moment. Like, oh my gosh, it's letting me touch him. His name was Einstein. He was adorable. So, yeah, I totally get it. So that level of patience is huge. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So if you could teach a master class to other instructors, what would the topic be, and what key points would you share with them?
Well, first of all, a master class would suggest that we're never going to stop learning. It's never going to be an end to that class. There's no graduation from that class. That would be the focus of it, is learning how to keep learning. Because I think that's what we all are missing in the industry, is we get to a certain point and then we rely on devices to make something happen instead of learning how not to do that. Me personally, I don't understand why we're not doing that. Why are we not learning how to do it softer when we sit there and preach about being softer? Everybody teaches, get softer, get softer. Well, what's softer than me thinking it and the horse doing it? Why do I need a device to do that?
What sort of things would you encourage them to learn specifically, and where would you have them look?
Learn how to connect to the mind of the horse before you try to control the body and the feet. But to do that, you've got to control the feet. So that's where master comes into play, right? Because it's both, but you can't have the horse before the cart, but you can't have the cart without the horse. You can't have the horse without the cart, because why do I need a horse? I don't have a cart. I have a cart. Well, I need a horse. I don't need the cart if I don't have a horse. You got to have both, and you got to figure out how to do it individually in order to put it together. So really, it's about connecting to the mind of the horse, understanding what each and every horse needs, and then understanding the horse in general, the horse society. Horses have their own society, right? The better we can understand their communication within their society, and their rules in their society, the better we can get them to understand ours.
Beautiful. Yeah, so learning about her dynamics, behavior, their brain, how it works, all those things, right?
Yeah. That doesn't happen with devices. That doesn't happen with a bigger bit
No.
or skirt or saddle, for instance. I mean, look at the native Indians. They didn't have saddles. Why do we rely on so many devices when we know it was already done without it? Why are we not getting back to connecting?
Yeah, everyone has their own way of playing with the horses, and I just feel so blessed that they're so willing to adapt with each different kind of connection.
Very willing. These animals are very willing and forgiving, even though we don't deserve it. We don't deserve it, but yet they give it to us every day. And that's why it's so important for my program to teach people how to understand what that horse needs each and every day. I use raising kids a lot as an analogy. You got to push them too. You can't just go with what they want necessarily. You got to push them in the right way, but that doesn't mean you have to do it forcefully, or you have to do it in a way that makes them completely and utterly miserable. If your horse is not enjoying it, then it's not a good job for them. Every day we look for a job that we enjoy. Why don't we want that for our horse? Make them enjoy their job and then they'll do it better. That's another thing I would teach in that master class. Help the horse enjoy their job and they will do it better.
Yeah, I was just going to say, rephrase it from make to help or assist. Yeah, you already did it. So, yeah. That's why I offer so many choices to Pepper when I'm playing with him. Like, would you like to do this today? No. And then the next day, would you like to do this? Yes. So that's how I know the yes is a true yes. And it makes my heart so happy because then I know he's really choosing to enjoy the time with me. So that's a really fun distinction. Do you shift your lessons when you feel like the horse is not really wanting to be ridden? Like, does that ever happen in your lessons? I'm just curious.
Can you rephrase the question a little bit so I can understand it?
Sure. If you have a horse that's going to be ridden for a lesson, but you get the sense that it doesn't feel like being ridden, has that ever happened to you?
Oh, I look for that as soon as I go out in the pasture. So my program requires you to get the halter rope first lesson, and you go out with me and you catch your horse.
Right.
If your horse, if I read that horse is not feeling good, oh no, I'll pick a different horse. If I read that horse is running around in a nut job, I'm going to teach that person how to catch that horse. Because that horse is clearly just fine. And it's acting up because it either is happy and wants to play or is trying to get out of work. Either or, come on, let's do this. Because it's the same process. Connect, have communication, and then all of a sudden the horse is with you. That's why a lot of times that's why the horse runs around like that. It's because they're looking for you to show them that you can connect. They want you to run around with them essentially, but do it in the right way, where you're communicating with them and trying to release that pressure. Because we all know it's about the release of pressure, right?
Yeah, I find it's really interesting that Pepper will do these little, I call them mini tests. Like he'll run around, like, are you going to run with me first? And then if you run with me, cool, then I'll let you ride me. So there are those little moments where he is looking for that kind of connection. So I'm glad you said that. And that you show your students how to connect that way on the ground. It's really good.
Oh, groundwork. It's all about groundwork. It's, if you're not connected on the ground, why are you getting on the back?
Well, it's a refreshing thing because growing up in New York, I mean, so many times, I mean, even when I taught in New York City, the groom would get the horse ready and I met the horse fully tacked with the student and the student wasn't even allowed to like get the horse ready or untack them and they just got on. And it was like one of those things where that was just the way things were because of insurance. And I'm like, they're missing this huge element of horsemanship. So, of course, when I did my own program, I'm like, we're going to do it this way and learn how to actually connect and groom on the ground and move with them. So it's such a wonderful thing. Yeah.
it's not exactly fair to either the horse or the rider, because now they've got to figure this job out without having met each other,
Yes.
without having done anything with each other and having communication.
It's like getting married before even dating, you know?
Yeah, exactly. We gotta learn each other a little bit here and see if this is gonna work out.
Yes. Yeah. Well, this week marks my 5-year anniversary with owning Pepper. And the first time I met him, the little girl was getting him ready and riding him, and she hopped off and they brought him right to the mounting block, expecting me to just get right on. And I go to step up and I'm like, wait, no. I need to hand walk him around first. I need to get to know this pony. He needs to get to know my energy. So I made that complete shift, and he started sniffing my belly like, oh, I like your essence. It was the coolest feeling. And to make that change, like immediately, like, yeah, I'm going to try a horse, but I would actually like to get to know him first. So I think that's a really clear, important distinction in all riding programs that people really need to hear that. Yeah. So glad you do that.
For the horse. Making it easier for the horse.
Yes, absolutely. So Joe, if you could create a billboard for other riding instructors to see, what's the one thing you would write on there?
Be one with your horse. Be one with your horse. If you're two, it's going to be tough. If you're one, it's a lot easier. Be connected. Be with your horse. 100%, not just physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. The better you could do that. And that doesn't mean it's easy. It ain't easy. That's actually, it's not easy, I promise you. But once you achieve it, it is. It's just getting through that threshold, that first little part, that mountain. Once you get to the top, everything is pretty easy from there on.
I love that. That reminds me of my latest lesson last week with my student locally. She said the cutest quote, "It's hard when it's hard, but it's easy when it's easy."
Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
Right? It was so simple. And I'm like, yep, exactly. And you have moments of that throughout your ride. And it's like one of those emotional roller coasters sometimes, you know? Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that, Joe. I really appreciate your insights, and I'm glad you're able to join. Is there anything you want to share, anything upcoming that you'd like the listeners to know about?
Well, we have recently moved into our new property. We're no longer renting. We own our own property, and we are just trying to continue to build, and we want more lesson programs. We want to make more availability to those who might not be able to afford the traditional, program. We want to break it down, just like everything else we do here. We want to break our stuff down to be able to reach those who might not be able to afford the full thing and still experience horses and still get some knowledge.
That's gorgeous.
We have a new program. We want to start doing virtual lessons, and that is the thing that we're focused on right now. That we think that's going to break things down for people and make it a little easier access for them. Not everybody can take a day off every week and come out and just ride horses with Joe. We have lives. But you can just set up a camera right quick and go out for an hour in your round pen and work with Joe virtually. I think I might be able to reach some people out there.
Absolutely. I love teaching remotely. I'm so glad you're diving into that. This is wonderful.
Yeah, your help has made a big difference in helping us both see that it's possible. It's not only possible, but it's very viable. And so we're investigating what will work for our kind of closer in community. Because, in Texas, we're not close, even if we're all in Texas.
Sure.
But then you go worldwide like you have, right? So we're kind of starting with, like, they kind of know about us, but just can't get here. So we kind of have some folks that we really want to reach and work with them to help us build the ideal program. So we start small with our small steps.
Perfect. Yeah, just like anything else. I love it. Thank you so much for being here, Joe. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And for everyone listening, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. And please check the show notes and you can get in touch with Joe. And you will see the links to his business, and I sure hope you will enjoy all his offerings. Remember to lead with kindness for yourself and for your horse, and may the horse be with you always.